Reports and some research works claim that Nigeria as a country continues to face challenges of food scarcity. To score and underscore this, a recent global hunger index has ranked Nigeria 103rd out of 121 countries, while the National Bureau of Statistics also estimated that 133 million Nigerians, or thereabout, are multidimensionally poor, with food as one of the indicating factors. Many Nigerians are therefore said to be at the risk of facing hunger between now and the end of 2025 if urgent action is not taken to arrest the situation. Reports also have it that issues of continued conflicts between the farmers and bandits, climate change, inflation, among others, are reasons for the rising cost of food items in their country. Beyond these, there is also the human factor, which is the case of hoarding of foodstuffs. For instance, Kano State has risen to the occasion by sealing off warehouses that are said to be hoarding assorted foodstuffs at the popular Dawanau International Grains Market in Kano Metropolis as part of efforts to arrest this ugly trend. This, they say, will go a long way in addressing the issue of food scarcity in the state and the country at large. Now, are other state governments going to take this similar action? How do we address this situation holistically and create a sustainable and resilient food system to solve persistent hunger crisis in the country? These and many more will be our focus tonight. Welcome to Nigeria Today. I am your carrier, Clinton, and thanks for joining us. Now, joining us via Zoom to discuss possible way of mitigating artificial food scarcity in Nigeria is Professor of Agricultural Extension and Development Communication, University of Ibadan, and Pro-Chancellor, Abdulkadir Kure, University, Minna, Nigeria, Professor Muhammad Yahaya Kuta. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and good evening, Nigeria.
And here in the studio, we're being joined by Director of Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency, NOAA, David Akoji. It's good to see you again.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Now, also joining us virtually is Executive Chairman, Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission, Muhiyi Magaji Rebingadu. Thank you for joining us on Nigeria Today. Okay, I'll start with you, Prof. No, we've had issues of people, businessmen, hoarding food. The case of Kano is a clear example of warehouses being stocked with food, while people out there are, looking for these food items. What do you think could be the contributory factor to these, kinds of actions?
Well, for every situation, there is the tendency that people like to exploit situations for their own selfish advantage without remembering the fact that they are supposed to uphold some of their religious tenets or uphold some of the moral issues that have to do with human existence. They easily forget because of the, itching need for accumulation of wealth without any consideration for the human factor. I quite agree with you that what is happening in many places is because people have advantage of the situation we found ourselves. Unfortunately, the food scarcity is perpetually artificial, man-made. It is not as a result of natural disaster, where you talk about issues of the environment, flood, disasters that are associated with production of them. So this one is human beings are just taking advantage of the difficulties in the distribution chain. And the distribution chain is primarily as a result of difficult transportation system, and that's why we are witnessing some of these hoarding so that people will manipulate prices and make it even less affordable. And has to do with the people that are disadvantaged segment of the population. Those people whose incomes or purchasing power is very low, they are the ones who are suffering. Those in the high echelon of society don't even have any qualms because they feel fortified by the availability of some of these resources. Some of them don't even produce goods made in Nigerian products. They have tests for foreign goods, so they don't even care what is happening, and that is why these things go unabated. But to address the issues, we need to quickly take advantage of our own home advantages, and that is why we take cognizance of the fact that the value chain of agricultural system should be revisited, whereby at every level there must be some level of government intervention, particularly at the farm gates. The farm gates, government must not overlook the farm gates. Government must make sure that they have what we call buffer stock. Buffer stock is anytime farmers produce in excess, instead of allowing middlemen to cut away at cheap prices from the farmers, some of them will even go and price the farm and pay the farmers peanuts. When they harvest, they take it away and go and store it. So what normally happens is that when you have a buffer stock, you buy excess from the farmers, stockpile it, and once there is scarcity, government will now release it to the market so that they will reduce this kind of activities of these unpatriotic citizens who hold some of these products. So I believe this is a chance, and that is why agriculture must be supported. And I must commend at all levels of government must of necessity embark in what is happening in Kano, but not to take laws into their hands, but to engage all the stakeholders from transportation network, road transport workers, from all those who are into marketing of grains. Government officials must meet with them to allow these goods to reach the market instead of holding them. Whoever holds them, government should make a declaration. All governors should sign executive order. Whoever holds some of this food, they should bring it out and sell it to the public at affordable prices. It's unpatriotic and it's unacceptable. And that is why I commend the former governor of Niger State, Muhammad Umar Bago, that has gone ahead to issue an executive order that all those foodstuffs.
Thank you very much, Prof, for that submission there. Now, we'll come back to you, Prof. Now, we are now joined from Kano by Muyi Magaji Remingado. Earlier we introduced him. Now, Magaji, I saw some clips where you led a team in Kano where some warehouses were raided, and of course, quite a lot of food stuff were stocked there. Now, why do you think they will stock so much food in a warehouse, not considering the expiry dates, and having raided these warehouses? What next?
Thank you very much for having me. First of all, yes, we have made it clear since last week that we are going to embark on this program, that it is illegal under Nigerian law to hoard essential commodities. And what we did was to go to activate our intelligence mechanism, so that our intelligence mechanism will go around and find and pinpoint the places to which we are suspected to be a place for holding such commodities. And that's exactly what happened. And we were able to identify some certain places where, to our dismay, we find such kind of goods which we suspect to be part of the hoarding. So, and I think by so doing, we are trying to push the products to the market, because we are not against anybody doing business in Kano, and we are not targeting anybody who is doing legitimate business in Kano or who is bringing his goods to Kano. What we are doing is to make sure that some people with money did not take advantage of the farmers, peasant farmers, and take away their palm produce when they produce it, because we are just some months away from rainy season, which means we are in the harvesting season. We are not too far from harvesting season. So you can agree with me when I say that it is unacceptable the kind of price we are seeing now in foodstuffs. Yes, we are not unaware of the fact that there is a rise in forex trading in Nigeria. But that notwithstanding, we find a situation whereby even the goods that have been produced in Nigeria, it has been skyrocketed. So that is why the Commission, we have done it previously, because during COVID-19, we have embarked into similar activities, and it makes impact. And I'm happy to tell you that as of today in Kano, we were able to maintain a kind of stability in the price, because during the last 2 weeks, we find a situation whereby virtually each and every day you see an increase in price of food products. But from 4 days to today, we are seeing a stability in the market, and at least when you go to Singa market today, you see that the price is declined. At least the price of sugar, price of rice, and price of spaghetti and what have you, and even the grains that are produced locally here. Because if you say that forex has pushed price of other commodities that have their base from outside the country, what more of the food products that has been produced here in Nigeria? So it is a belief of the Commission that artificial scarcity has been introduced by these elements that are engaging in holding of the essential commodities, and we are checkmating them with this our operation. And what we are doing now is to enter compromise. You asked me about way forward. The way forward is, I just come out from a meeting with all the stakeholders, including the market association of both the Wanao and Singa markets, and we come to a conclusion whereby we have come up with the committee where the Commission has nominated 5 people, and the market association have nominated 5 people. Then we come together and we are pushing together to see the next line of action. But what we are doing is we have compromise where the good will be pushed to the market, and we have an arrangement whereby the current price will not be up, will be sustained, and if not decline from now to Ramadan fasting. And I think it's a landmark achievement.
Well, thank you very much, Magaji, for that information. Now we'll get back to you too. Now coming back to the studio, David, you had all they had to say. Obviously, with these actions, it is really not too patriotic. I don't know if I'll be correct by saying that, too patriotic to hot food when people are grappling with a lot of economic challenges right now, and adding to that, this problem is not too good if you are one of the reasons. Now, how can a sense of national unity be harnessed, to address these kinds of actions?
Well, Eukaria, in your intro, you put the matter in proper context. When you talked about the pressures that the farmer header crisis is putting on our food situation, inflation, and also the challenges around climate change. And you know that government is tackling all of this, in divergent ways. I'm glad to hear the report from Kano and the outcome that for the past 3-4 days thereabouts, prices have sort of stabilized after they took the action of breaking into some of these warehouses where foodstuff was being hoarded. Hoarding is a national challenge. It's not only in Kano or Niger State that this is happening. It's happening all over the place, and people have come to think that this is a form of business, that you buy food at harvest season, grains and all of that, off the farmers at very, very cheap rates, and then you go and hoard them. And as the harvest season passes and we're approaching a new planting season, you bring it out and the price is high. It's extremely unpatriotic, I don't think it is the case that if you enter our major markets around the country today, that you wouldn't find food on sale. The challenge is that the prices are going beyond the reach of most ordinary Nigerians, and it is because of this hoarding. When people mop up from farms, from villages and all the rural areas, they mop up these grains. Then you begin to contend with the challenge of demand and supply. So where demand is higher than supply, you know that prices naturally would go up. So we're appealing, we're joining the Minister of Information and National Orientation to appeal. And he did this appeal, publicly on television and radio to people, to Nigerians, to be patriotic. This is not the right way to make money. You don't make money by starving your brothers and sisters around the country, having mopped up the food and you are holding them and keeping them until you wait for prices to triple, quadruple before you bring them out. So we're putting out an appeal, and we have sent out notices to our directors, state directors around the country and COMOs to also reach out to people and talk to them about this so that we can put a stop to this notorious attitude.
So are there some form of campaigns,
Yes.
stop this?
We're talking to people. We're entering into markets. We're even going to farms, to talk to farmers. Government is planning to enter into dry season farming also around this period. I'm sure when that crystallizes and matures, it will also diffuse some of these food shortage tensions that we're seeing, around the country.
Okay, now back to you, Prof. Now you talked in your early submission, you talked about government intervening in the value chain, distribution and all of that. Now, what then is the role of the community leaders? Because some of these persons that are holding this food, they are from some communities. It's not like they don't know them. So what is the role of the community leaders, the people there? And of course, the consumers. What is the role of the consumers in all of this, to ensure that we no longer have trends like this, hoarding, and of course, ultimately artificial scarcity?
This is the time to harvest the strengths and potentials of our community leaders, from our emirs to chiefs to obas and so on, to have a convocation of members of all the communities to come together to address themselves and talk to themselves about this unpatriotic act. People can make money, but when, according to the director, if you have to exploit the people's situation to create hunger in order to make money.
Okay, back to you, Magaji. Now, are there strategies on ground to address this hoarding issue holistically so that we won't have, future reoccurrence?
I think the only strategy is for the government to modulate its powers. At least that is why we have laws. Hoarding essentially is not allowed under our law. I believe you can see it. We have what we call Price Control Act, which is a decree now act, which prohibit hoarding of essential commodities, and it provides for punitive measures. So certainly, those people that engage in hoarding, they are really enjoying it, because I was told that it's become part of the business of some people with huge capital. So therefore, they are taking advantage of the peasant farmers. When they grow their goods, they will follow them to buy it at the cheaper rate. Then they will come and hoard it. At the same time, some even take it even outside the country. I don't believe we have any other mechanism than to impose the law where applicable. Because if you allow people on their own conscience, people might not listen. Honestly speaking, I believe I subscribe to the other gentleman when he said that we're supposed to have a kind of synergy or a both mechanism whereby traditional rulers and other stakeholders to come together to take a stance against these hoarding activities. But I can assure you that it is only when the government becomes serious and aware and conscious of the hoarding, not only hoarding of essential commodity, even the issue of dollar crisis now. As I'm talking to you now, I have a case here in Kano whereby somebody confessed to have taken 750 million naira from government coffers and purchased US dollars to somebody. So if this would be allowed in our law without being checkmate, then that's why we find ourselves into this situation. There must be a mechanism whereby all government, be it state government, federal government and even the local government come together, understand the problems, and act accordingly in accordance with the law. Law is coercive in nature. I always say this. It compels obedience. So we should not come and start begging people to do what is necessary. No, we are seeing the consequences now, whereby a citizen is going to the market, but he doesn't know how much he will meet the price of what he know. As yesterday, here in Kano, we find a situation whereby prior to this time, before we acted, you can go to market, you are following queue to buy something. The man in front of you will purchase it at the price you expect it to be, and you, when it comes to your turn, somebody, the owner will come and tell you that there is an increase of price because he has just received a call whereby the company has increased the price. So I believe the government should come up with modalities. I mean, when I say government, I mean the federal government primarily, then the state government as well. There are government too, and subnational have a great role to play. Look at what we are doing in Kano. And I believe subnational government, we have 36 states in the federation. So when we come together with a mechanism whereby we should not allow this to happen, and I believe we are capable of doing that. When we venture into this, I believe it will bring a solution to some of the problem. I'm not saying all of the problem, but I can see we are going to get it right when we do it with all sincerity of purpose.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Magaji. Now, David, back to you now. You know, Magaji has said quite a lot of this now as a matter of rounding of the. But then again, as individuals, as citizens, what is our responsibility towards one another in the face of these economic challenges? We
owe a responsibility of care, of mutual care, you know, for one another. The point that Magaji made from Kano, as important as it is, that a lot of times the power of coercion, you know, succeeds with a lot of people. I also want to make a note of caution. Prior to this time, a lot of people did not know that it's an offense to go to market and buy and keep and wait when it's close to another planting season, you know, and then the prices go up. And so very many people around the country were into this, and they were looking at it as business, especially people around the food value chain, you know. So there's need for enlightenment, the need for awareness creation. And that's what we are doing at the NOA. And the minister started the conversation with a press conference, you know, recently, the Minister of Information and National Heritage, where he said, look, we know where some of these things are kept, and we have the capacity to go and break it open. But right now we are appealing to you to do the right thing and bring out this food because people are suffering. There's food shortage and people they cannot afford to buy at the prices that are, you know, going on at the moment. So I think a combination of carrot and stick is required at this point in time. But more than anything else, we have reached a point in this country where we should show that duty of care for each other. It should prick our conscience that some people are somewhere and cannot even get food to eat because of the actions we are taking.
All right, thank you very much. On that note, we wrap up today's episode of Nigeria Today. But a very big thank you to our guest, the Professor of Agricultural Extension and Development, Communication, University of Ibadan, and Pro-Chancellor, Abdul Kadir Kure University, Mina, Nigeria, Professor Muhammad Yahya Kota. And also a very big thank you to the Executive Chairman, Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission, Muyi Magaji Rimingado. And of course, here in the studio, we had the Director of Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency, NOA, David Akoji. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Pleasure.
And that's it on Nigeria Today. Thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today is weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also watch these and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I am your carrier, Clinton, saying goodbye for now.